back to the Rise TCG Guilds. We want to do something a little bit fun today, and basically what we're going to do is take a look at our current top 10 cards, and we chose these cards really for a multitude of reasons, but not specifically based off of gameplay. We're going to do another video in the future that's focused on what we consider to be the top 10 OP cards, if you will, or the must-have cards. And to be frank, I don't know that there are any cards that are OP cards, because the way that the game is programmed and designed, it's mapped out to have a counter for every card. But there are definitely cards that when you get them, you're happy that you have them, at least so far. And we're still learning, and we're still gaining a lot of experience, but we just thought this would be a lot of fun. So we're going to keep the energy high here, and just go ahead and open it up. We're gonna show the card from 10 down to our number 1, and then talk about how you'd use it in gameplay. But again, our focus is not on gameplay. It's probably more on aesthetics or things that we just really enjoy, artwork or just stylistically or lore or anything like that. So, Tank, would you like to go first, or you want me to go first, bud?
Either works.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll go first. If try to draw this top card here, and hopefully this will work here. I'll put it right there on top of these 8, and then I will flip it here. So here's my number 10. So if you want to get the alt in on that there, bud. Okay, so number 10 is Last Smile. So Last Smile here is just one of the, as far as artwork is concerned, just an awesome artwork card. And when you see this card in full holo, when you pull that in the standard booster box or the collector booster box, you're just going to be amazed at the selective hollowing that they put on this thing. Beautiful card, love the artwork, definitely a very intense card. As far as the actual gameplay of the card, so you pay 1 and you flip a coin. If you have a success, you randomly select a card from your graveyard. If that card is a creature, it returns to your battlefield, and if it is not, then you put that card into your hand. And so just a very useful card, a lot of utility, especially if you don't have a lot of cards in your graveyard playing an early game. This is a good card. It's rank 4 eminent, so you could put 4 of them in your deck if you want to. And then I also like the flavor text, Death Smiles on You. It is time for you to enjoy it before contemplating the ether. All right, Tank, over to you for your number 10.
Yep. So what I selected for my number 10 is the rank 2 incantation Alchemist. I chose this mainly on the attention to detail in the card. Something to note about the actual irises and pupils of people is whenever they see something they like, their pupils majorly constrict. And as we can see right here on this keeper, as he's staring at his gold, his pupils are almost pinpoint. So you can almost just feel the greed that he has as he's in this action stance. The Alchemist card is very strong, especially when seen in the Keeper deck, because it allows you to pair it with cards like Kilaz or Keen that can pull doors from your cemetery, especially after you use this last ability where you can exclude a door from your hand for 5 coins. And essentially they're able to grab doors from Exclusion, Cemetery, wherever, so that way you're not really losing anything. In the flavor text, you now have a Philosopher's Stone is a tie back to the old adage of alchemy, we're trying to turn anything into gold.
Yeah, fantastic. And one thing I didn't mention when I talked about mine was that I did talk about the rank, but I did not talk about the rarity. And so the rarity of Last Smile is a common card, and the rarity of Alchemist is a precious, equivalent to a rare. When you think about other sets, there's one more level above precious, and that is legendary, but that's the rarity of the card. Okay, going to number 9. So we'll grab that top card if I can here. Tell you what, I'm just going to thank you. And we'll flip that over. And so number 9 here is the Z Howler. And I really like the Z Howler because they got the cone head there, and she is got a lot of character in this card, and especially around Halloween, this is a great little card to pull out, and everybody loves the Z Howler. It's rank 4 zombie, so playing it in zombie decks is kind of a no-brainer. comes out on the attack with advantage, so it's really strong there when it does attack, but it has to have at least one creature in your graveyard to attack. If you pay 1, you get a success. Howler retrieves a targeted zombie creature card from your graveyard and then put it in your hand. So if you got somebody that's targeting your zombies and getting them off the board, Howler's a good way to return those zombies back into play. Howler's a 1/1 creature herself, and she also is a common card. So that is my number 9. Over to you, Tank.
Cool. So I chose my number 9 to be the Clone General. I really like this one because it reminds me of old Uncle Sam pictures you'd find here in the U.S. for the "We Want You" for the United States military. It's a rank 2 clone. You, again, can find this in the Clone Blast deck. It's exceptionally strong when you're sitting there just churning out a bunch of clones because, as you see right here with its action, it can transform 3 rank infinite clones into a rank infinite 5/5 clone that has Horde, which allows it to block more than one creature. But if successful, the General Clone is tilted and cannot be used that turn.
Yeah, and that's, I believe, a precious card, if I remember correctly. And so equivalent to rare and some really, really good utility in a clone deck. So,
for those of you at home who are wondering how we can tell what rarity these cards are, if you look right there at the bottom, right where it says Francois Van Orle, you see almost an alpha symbol in that little circle. That circle right there just alone is how you can tell it's a common. And as you get these bigger wings, that's how you can tell it's a precious.
Yeah, good point. So far we've, I think, only seen commons and precious cards. So we'll see if we see any uncommon. I'm trying to think of what the name is. It for uncommon? It's not uncommon. It's unusual. That's right. Good. Okay, thank you. And we'll flip my number 8 here. So my number 8 is one of the 7 sins. So these cards are great because if you want to get on the alt there, Tank, appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. This is another precious card. It's an incantation rank 1, which means that you can only have one of them of the wrath in your decks. If you, so it says activating in-game actions no longer consumes, but stock. Instead, you use life points for the summoners instead. So you're starting to pay with life to accomplish tasks. So if you've got a lot of life gaining ability, or if you've got a summoner that helps you to gain health points, then Wrath could be a good card to play by itself with that kind of a deck. Like I said, it's a precious card. When you have all 7 sins out on the table, that is an alternate win condition. So that's one of the few that I've seen actual different win conditions versus defeating your opponent's summoners. And then for the flavor text, says, I feel a rage that crosses and disintegrates the matter to the flesh. So just a great, beautiful card. I've seen this card in gold. I've seen this card in hollow, and it's just an amazingly beautiful card. Very popular out there, the 7 cent set. So keep your eyes out for those. Over to you, Tank.
For my number 8, was it?
That's correct.
Or number 7. For my number 7, I chose Irrational. It's just strictly on the art alone. It reminds me a lot of the H.P. Lovecraft type style art. And the actual card itself is balanced by destruction. All cards in play based on those of a targeted opponent. There must be as many cards of each type on each player's battlefield as there are on the targeted opponent's battlefield. If cards are destroyed during this balancing, the owner draws 1 card for each card destroyed. This pairs really well when you're not just playing a 1-on-1, but moreover you're having a 2v2 or a 1v-all, and you're just really trying to clear the field of an opponent who may be higher up than you.
Yeah, and that card there, I think, is our first unusual card. And so if you look at the wings on that card, you can see that they're a little bit different than the wings on Wrath. Both of them have the letter A in the middle, which basically stands for, it's the pre-Kickstarter variant. And we'll get into, when we do kind of a time-lapse of the cards in the future, we'll show you some of the sets that came out during Patreon and some of the promos that are out there that are prior to Kickstarter. But all Kickstarters will have the letter K in the middle for this whatever the number is. If you look on the far left of that card of 306, the set is actually increased to 308, and so that's the number of 308 as the set comes out. There were 2 new cards added to the base set during the Kickstarter. I'll go ahead and move to my number 7, and my number 7 here is the Z Destructor. Z Destructor is a creature, zombie, rank 4. You can have 4 of them in your deck. Z Destructor has the Pierce ability, and so with the Pierce ability, I read that real quick, but it's a creature that has Pierce, can directly hit an opposing summoner if its attack points are greater than the defense points. So it's kind of like Trample if you played Magic the Gathering or games like that. And then if you pay 1 and you have a successful flip of the coin or roll of the dice, the Z Destructor destroys targeted door. If you fail, a targeted opponent chooses a door or creature on your battlefield. If there is no creature or door, the Z Destructor dies. And then it's a 2/1 creature. You can see that it's a common there. And also the flavor text says the secret resides in a little sway of the hip. And what I think is really cool about this card is it reminds me a lot pop culture wise of like a Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball video. So a lot of people will call this the Miley, even though it's not Miley Cyrus. So great card. Over to you, Tank.
For my number 7, I chose one of my favorite arts in the game. This is a full holo art card, and its selective holoing is just fantastic. All of the energy waves you can see radiating off the skeleton just kind of glow gold as these. You can see it almost looks like the skeleton is either returning to life or being destroyed into the ether. It's called Domain of the Dead. All creatures in all graveyards return to play on the battlefields of their respective summoners, but they can no longer attack. So essentially, you're just raising a bunch of meat shields, or in this case, boneheads.
Absolutely, and another common card. And I'll play my number 6 here. And so number 6 here for my portion, and I'll wait for Tank to be able to kind of highlight it here, is the I call him Angry Homer, but it's actually Kronos. And so Kronos is a creature, eminent divinity, rank 1, so it can have 1 per deck. It's got the flying ability as well as the distance ability, and so that's very helpful as far as making it hard for creatures to be able to block Kronos. Kronos also has pay 1. If you have a success, apply bounce basically to the last card that performed an action and return it to its owner's hand. If you fail, all your opponents also discard a card, so it's really win-win for success or fail. And there's some combinations here of there are cards out there that can make you have a failure on your success attempts, and so you can program that in to try to get opponents to discard their hand. Kronos is a precious card as far as rarity is concerned. 3/3 creature, just a great overall around creature, but it reminds me of Angry Homer, so I think that's why it sits number 6 for me. Over to you, Tank.
So for my number 6, I actually chose the duo cards Alpha and Omega, just so I can show off the little art card that comes together when these are placed together. They both have the same flavor text in the sense that Alpha can't attack until the creature Omega is in play under your control. Once Alpha and Omega are in play under your control, they merge into a single 10/10 creature, and you can give it 2 abilities of your choice. So it's very wild to see these as an art piece, almost having a beholder-like creature between the 2 of their heads. The art cards in Rise will do this rarely, and when they do, it's a very beautiful thing. As mentioned earlier with the Wrath card and the 7 Sins, if you combine all of the 7 Sins together, it actually will do a left-to-right art of them laid by side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful panoramic, if you will, of those 7 Sins. So going out to my number 5 card here. My number 5 card is Lazarus. Tank, if you'll do the alt for me, I appreciate it. And so the Lazarus is a summoner, and his first ability is that he can summon a rank infinite skeleton creatures, or I say ability, it's actually skill. His first skill is that he can summon a rank infinite skeleton creature. Second skill is that Lazarus gains 1 health point for each skeleton creature in play under your control, and then the last skill is that Lazarus brings a creature of your choice from your graveyard and puts it directly onto your battlefield. And the wording says the graveyard, but that'll be changed as we move towards Kickstarter fulfillment. A lot of the wording on these cards, because they were translated from French to English, will do just some tweaks on them. They definitely, the mechanics are there, and the rules are sound. I just want to make sure that they're as clear as possible and that they're easy to understand for new players. But what I really love about this card is seeing it in the lenticular version as well as the hollow version, the selective hollowing on the eyes and things like that. It's just really incredible. So fantastic card to pick up, and just Lazarus is a great summoner. Another card to pair well with Lazarus is a card called Holy Skull, and that will bring 5 skeletons into play for you, and just a great overall card to play. And then you take that and you use those skeletons to charge up the life on Lazarus, and if your opponent gets behind with getting after your skeletons, then it's really hard to catch back up. So solid card overall as well, gameplay wise. And then the rarity is precious, and 10 health points for the health. Not all summoners have the same number of health points, so that's something to keep in mind. That's one of the ways that they're balanced is by their number of health points, but they are all the summoners I've seen so far are rarity precious. Okay, over to you, Tank.
Something else to keep in mind about this particular art of Lazarus is that this is the alternate art of Lazarus. His other depiction that is currently in the 306 set has him almost doing like a beam with his 2 hands outstretched with a column. All of the summoners that can be found in the base set will have alternate arts, and in the lenticular form of the cards, you will actually be able to swap between the regular art and the alternate arts.
All right, great.
Okay. And here's a good example. This is the alternate arts of R182, who is another summoner, where all of his text has been actually translated into binary. But if you were to put this into a binary translator, it would translate exactly to what R182 says when it's just in its regular form. And if you look really closely into the actual card art, you can see that his form is actually made out of like different characters such as / asterisk, parentheses, all these different numerical and character values that just bring up what he will look like in a digitized form.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, Francois is really fun about putting in Easter eggs or putting in story behind all of his artwork. So if you stare at something long enough, you're going to find a lot of things to like the little treasures that the longer that you play this game. So I really appreciate the amount of love and detail he's put into every single card. All right, going to my number 4 card. This card is the level up, and so it's a rank 2 level up. If you have been around Rise for any period of time, you'll see this card a lot of different places. There's actually a French version of this card out there. You'll see it on the box art for a lot of the different, or in the packs and things like that, for the marketing material for the collector sample boxes that have been opened up on Whatnot, things like that. It's you rank 2, so you can have 2 of them. You get the additional benefit other than leveling up your summoner to also get 3 health points on that summoner. Rarity is precious, and then just one thing to remember, like when you're leveling up, if you get to the max level of a summoner, you won't take it up to another level past that if you continue to play level up cards, but you will get the added benefit, like in this case here where you get 3 health points. But just a beautiful, beautiful overall card. There's many or multiple different hollows and promos and Patreon, and there's sketch versions of this card, so be on the lookout and try to collect them all if you have that ability. Just a iconic card as it pertains to Rise. Tank, over to you.
Okay. So my next favorite card happens to be the Prisoner, who is a not only a Kickstarter exclusive summoner, but also a crossover appearance from the game Dead Cells. While I have not played the game Dead Cells myself, I have played other games from the creator, and I just find that this kind of crossover between different games is just phenomenal. And this is not the only one. We also see crossovers from Owlboy, from D-Pad Studios, and The Binding of Isaac that is commonly seen on the Nintendo Switch.
Awesome. All right, for my number, I believe we're on number 3 here. So number 3 card, we've got the Lucky Clover. So for the Lucky Clover, it's an eminent, it's rank infinite, so you can have as many of these as you want in your deck. You choose an effect from the following. So you'll play this card. You can play it on your opponent's turn or your turn, and when you do, you choose to either draw a card, give 1 health point to one of your summoners, earn 1 stock, or give a +1/+1 charge to one of your creatures. Now this is a lot of utility, but the reason that my favorite reason for having this card is that it is also very iconic. If you're in the Discord at all, you'll see Francois's little icon that's next to his name has the artwork here from the Lucky Clover. And so anytime I think of Rise, not only is it a game of inertia, but it's also a game of chance, and there's ways to mitigate that chance, but it's not completely mitigated to where there's no stand-up moments. So there's balance, but there's also fun in the game, and really good surprise, come from behind type gameplay sometimes. It's not over till the last summoner is down. This Clover is magic. I tell you, it glows like a rainbow, and that full art holo that they put out during Patreon, there's like 1 of 15 of them made that were given to early Patreon supporters. It's just a beautiful, beautiful card. If you're able to get to see that, you got to check it out. So it's a common overall card, and in the base set, and looking forward to seeing it in standard and collector booster boxes. All right, Tank, over to you.
Yep. So my next favorite card is the Reaper, again based on aesthetics. I've seen the selective hollowing on this, and it's just like Lazarus with that smoking red eye. It looks gorgeous. The Reaper, instead of being a creature, is actually a rank 3 incantation. But at the beginning of your turn, if there are no creatures in play, you destroy the Reaper. If you pay 1 and flip a coin, you get a success, you destroy a targeted creature, but on a fail, you sacrifice one of your own creatures. This is a wonderful thing to pair with one of your rank infinite creatures, because then you're not really losing, as you will just be gaining ether. And especially if that has a rank infinite skeleton with that reanimation ability, it might be able to come back in even stronger. And as a final point, if you pair with Mazo and you fail, you're just getting free stock either way.
All right, good rundown. Okay, and then our next one here for me is going to be Malik. And so Malik is a summoner, and this is one of the Kickstarter exclusive summoners that comes in the Kickstarter set. Malik is all about, I really enjoy Malik 1 for the artwork. I like that red and black and the grays together. It just looks so awesome. Plus I love the way that the breath or the scream or whatever is actually happening there. You can see that detail there. It's just phenomenal. And then the 3 skills, Malik sacrifices one of your infinite rank creatures and gives you 3 charges of ether. So that's one of the new ways to get ether. Normally you get ether by one of your rank infinite creatures dying, and then you typically only get 1 ether. So I need to ask the question, because now I'm curious if you're going to get 4, because once the rank infinite creature dies, it also is going to charge your ether, so you might actually get 4 ether there. So I need to follow up on that. That's a good question for gameplay. Number 2 skill, Malik sacrifices one of your creatures, and then she gains a number of health points equal to half the defense points of the sacrificed creature plus 1. And then number 3, Malik sacrifices one of your creatures and then deals damage equal to half the attack points of the sacrificed creature minus 1 to a target of your choice. Malik is a precious summoner and starts out with 13 health points, so a really strong, powerful creature. And I'm looking to pair Malik up with Lazarus and see how that plays out, because I think that might be a good pairing. And over to you, Tank.
Sure. My next card happens to be the Soldier in Armor. It's a rank 3 knight, kind of a basic card, so to speak. Just the art alone is what captivates this for my number 3 slot. I've always been tied to things of medieval and things of knighthood, even with some of my nicknames. So just this card and all is a really personal card that I love.
Yeah, and I've heard that card called the Shovel Knight in some places as a funny thing, but love that card. And I believe Francois loves knights, so he's going to be putting out more knight artwork in the future. So just especially as we start moving into the 2nd and 3rd sets next summer and beyond. So my last one here, number 1, is the Gold Eater. Gold Eater is a creature, demon, rank 2. and is immune to diseases. The Gold Eater, as far as its attack and its defense, is based on the amount of stock that you have in your inventory. The Gold Eater removes 1 stock from your inventory each time that he attacks or defends, and you remove that after the combat phase, so you get all the power or the defense in your while you're attacking or defending. And then it's the flavor text is gold. Oh yes, gold. I want all of your gold. And so Gold Eater is an unusual card, but one of the reasons I love the artwork on this card is just phenomenal, and it just so happens that the reason that I love it the most is its sentimental value, is because this is the first card that brought me into awareness about Rise trading card game. I actually have the collector sample gold version of this card, and once I saw that card, I knew that I needed to check out Rise. And once I checked it out and started seeing the gameplay, and I knew that Francois, as both a designer and an artist, was onto something really special. So just this card would probably be in the top 10 for a long time. So, all right, Tank, over to you.
My first favorite card is actually going to be the rank 1 Magma Dragon. Right there at the bottom, you can see that this is the rarity of Legendary, as an example to see. This is one of the stretch goals that was unlocked earlier on in the Kickstarter. It is a very powerful card with having both Flying, Reach, and the Fire type. Types like these have been teased but not explained yet. As the Kickstarter is released and we get cards in hand, I'm sure we will understand what it means between the Fire type and the aforementioned Water type that comes along with the Isaac Summoner. When the Magma Dragon attacks, you flip a coin, and that success, you deal 2 damage to the targeted creature, but on a fail, you gain 2 coins. He's a 4/3, just overall a very, very strong and powerful card, and the artwork on this is just phenomenal. It pairs super well with the Soldier and Armor, just aesthetically in my mind, because I've always been all about dragons and knights.
Yeah, same. You're not a nerd if you don't like dragons and knights. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, and we're some nerds. All right, so thanks for hanging out with us and going through the top 10. Hopefully this was enjoyable, and please like, subscribe, and do all those things for the YouTube algorithm. And what I'd really like to see, if you don't mind, is if you make comments, like put your top 10 in there. What are your top 10 favorite cards for art and lore and just whatever reaches out and grabs you? Tank, any closing comments before we push out of here, bud?
Nothing important. Just really excited to see what happens as we're getting into these last 2 days of the Kickstarter. I really cannot wait to get these phenomenal cards in hand so we can start actually filming some live videos.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We'll see you next time.